Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Matt, and today I want to talk about not letting language learning dominate your life. I think that this is something that sometimes happens when people get really into learning a language. Maybe they're really big into language learning in general, or they get pretty far in the language learning process, and they kind of just get burned out. They kind of get overwhelmed. It just becomes a lot less fun. They feel like very obligated to just like meet their goals and targets with language learning. And I think it's important to just always take a step back and realize that, you want to control the language learning, right? You don't want that to have control over your life, right? You want to be in control of, all the things that you do, right? And language learning is just one of those activities. And I think it's important to put into perspective that, for most people, it really doesn't matter if you learn the language or not, right? Like, it's not the end of the world, right? There's some people that, that is, they have to do it for work, they have to do it for some sort of situation, but in a lot of cases for people, it's just a fun activity, and so it's not the end of the world if you're fluent, 2 months versus 4 months, and it's okay to miss your language learning targets or language learning goals. And it's okay to do the things that you find enjoyable. And this kind of like overwhelming feeling, this kind of just obligation feeling can be manifested in a lot of different ways. But like it could be something as simple as, you really think you need to get better at, let's say, reading, right? But you're just having so much fun playing video games in a foreign language, right? And you're like, oh, well, I told myself I was going to do this, every single weekend, but like, I just don't want to, right? Like, and it just starts to drag and drain you. Go play the video game in the foreign language. Do what's going to be enjoyable to you, right? It's okay to deviate just a little bit, right? Like, you don't have to be dominated by those goals and targets you've set for yourself, right? Like, sometimes these detours, doing those things that are going to be fun for you, or just changing it up, doing what you want to do, can be, pretty big in the end of the day, right? Like, they can be very helpful for your language learning process, right? Because it's important because it takes so long to, not wear yourself down, right? Not wear yourself down with getting burned out, or just, very burdened by the obligations of having to do language learning every single day or every single week. If you're not feeling it, take a break, right? It's better for your longer term success to be rested, to be feeling motivated and good about language learning, versus to just grind yourself down to the point where you're not motivated. It's stressful. It just is consuming and taking over things, right? So I think it's important, do those activities that are fun for you, right? You can deviate from the path. And this is going to happen with pretty much everybody as they learn a language, right? Like, things are going to start working and then they won't work anymore. Or things are interesting and compelling and they're not compelling, right? Always be mixing things up. Always analyze, what's going on, right? Like, some people are just super excited with conversations, and go and push that idea, right? Like, get better at speaking, right? Like, you have that momentum. Take advantage of that momentum that you have. It's not to say that, don't, have goals, don't have targets, don't try to instill discipline, right? Because I think those things are helpful. Those things are important in a lot of ways to ensure that you have a lot of progress, that you achieve what you want out of language learning. But I think it's important to also, not have those things dominate you, have those things control aspects of you where you get into a negative headspace. You are just not enjoying things as much anymore, right? Because, like I said, for a lot of people, this is supposed to be a fun activity, right? Obviously, there's going to be times where you probably have to do things that you don't want to do, whether it's learn some grammar or something like that. But it's okay to mix it up. It's okay to deviate. And it's something that I've experienced before, where you just feel really obligated to have to do certain things in the language learning process. But like I said, it's not the end of the world. So I think that in terms of your longer term, success with language learning, you want to make sure that you're controlling that burnout. You're controlling that experience. And I think it's very important. And it's not just with language learning, it's a lot of different aspects in life too that this can happen with. So, kind of really quick lesson here. And obviously, it's a little gray, right? Because there is no clear example, right? Because it can be manifested in so many different ways. And there's no exact right answer about whether or not you should be disciplined right now or you should deviate and take a break or do something new, right? It's always going to be kind of on a person by person situation, and again, it's going to have different variables and in a different context. So you have to kind of be the judge in those situations. But I think it is important to kind of point out that don't let that language learning dominate your life where just things get really burdensome, stressful, or whatever it is, because ultimately you want to ensure that kind of longer term health, longer term success, longer term motivation when you're learning a language. So that's what I had to say. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.